Good evening, gentle viewer. It's your man Shane Black. And the video that you should be looking at, not the video but the image, should be that of Tyler Raj Barris. Barriss. That's B is in bitch. Raj is spelled just like Raj on the Big Bang Theory. And Tyler is spelled like that motherfucking supervisor who was a silly ass bitch that I worked for like last year or a couple years ago. Tyler Raj, B is in bitch, Arris. 25 years old, from Los Angeles, going by the online name of Swattistic. SWAUT is in Timothy, ISTIC. Now we find out that Mr. Finch was killed over $1.50. Now I'm going to show several videos. But before I begin, one in which you'll see an image of an individual on YouTube from his channel, which is Drama Alert. Hashtag Drama Alert. Guess he does gaming videos or whatever. 3.2 million subscribers. I don't do gaming. I don't really give a fuck. But apparently after shit went down, Tyler Raj, the bitch Barris, called in and talked to Keemstar, as he calls himself, on Drama Alert. It was an interview, and he seemed, ambivalent. And if you don't know what it means, then you don't need to be looking at anything else in this video. He didn't give a fuck, just like I said in the previous video. Hey, I don't work for SWAT. I didn't discharge a weapon. I'm not at fault. He should have known he'd be at fault, because this is not the first time that Tyler the bitch has made false reports to the police. He just got out of jail in August for doing the same shit. Calling in bomb threats. What the fuck? Do you really not have that much going on in your life that you have a drive to call in false reports instead of, okay, I got the fuck out of jail, let me stay the fuck out of jail? So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to show you several clips. You're going to hear the 911 call. Then I'm going to show you Andrew Finch being shot. And then I'm going to show you the police chief talking about the incident. And then I'm going to show you from Drama Alert. Once again, you can go watch the damn video. I'll put the link in the fucking description box because it's not my video. So, hopefully he'll take that shit and won't fuck with me for having this video linked up over here. But the bottom line is this. Not only should Tyler the bitch be arrested, the person who gave that false address, Miracle, needs to be arrested as well. Doesn't matter that you're like, oh, well, no, I gave him and I said it was an old address. It wasn't my current address. No. You shouldn't have given an address at all. He apparently deleted his Twitter account and trying to, nothing. But I don't have shit else to say because I'm going to focus on the man who died. Hold the fuck on while I get some hydration. Yeah. Andrew Finch. Now, he had a rough life. because this is about him. Shouldn't be really a story about the person who got him killed, but a story about him. And hopefully you should be looking at his image right now. Andy Finch, it says. He brought potato salad to every family gathering. And I like me some potato salad. Like some damn barbecue pork ribs, even better. But you gotta have a potato salad to go with it. And he brought that side. Religiously. Apparently he loved to cook. Had a brother named Jerome Finch. And who knows, maybe he would have taught his children how to cook when they got older, if his ass still would have been around. His daughter would have been 2 in a couple of months. Now, once you hear the 911 call, you'll know why the police were on high alert. Not even going to get into that. But apparently, hold the fuck on, there we go. He spent part of his childhood, Andrew did, in foster care, which is fucked up. And in his case, it wasn't a stable foster care. He moved from home to home, to home to home to home. My goddaughters, even going from one caregiver to another, because the first time they were in the same house, but great grandma died, and then their great aunt died. No, hold on, the great aunt died, the great grandma was already living there, then great grandma died, and then it's like they're just being bounced from person to person. And she said, I don't like that shit. Fuck, she was like 12 or 13. So I could just imagine. You're in foster care. These people aren't even related to you. She didn't even like it when they were related. Either way. Going through that shit, we'll say it drove Andrew Finch to spend a little time in juvenile detention. And then a portion of his adult life in prison. And remember, he was only 28 years old. 28. Now, when he was in prison, I had to get a little hydration before I close this shit out. Hold on. Yeah. In prison for criminal discharge of a firearm, damage to property, attempting to elude law enforcement, and possessing a gun as a felon. Yeah, those are some hardy-ass charges. Though I do believe that felons should have the right to possess firearms after a certain period of time has elapsed. You know, so say after 20 years of no contact with law enforcement, you should be able to go ahead and get that firearm. Fuck happens if you're 80 and you had a felony when you were 18? You need it for protection. You live by yourself. Somebody's breaking in the house. Bust a cap in that ass. Now you go to jail because 62 years ago you made a mistake or broke the law, really. Now they say, just like they always do with black folks, oh, and he was turning his life around. He was going to get a master's degree in microbiology like Hank Pym of the Avengers. And then he died, so that shit never happened. They say Andrew Finch was turning his life around. Though in turning his life around, he only got to the point where he was working part-time at Sonic. But I say this before we get to the video montage. Don't judge us, man, based on the shit that he did in his past. Because at the time of his murder, he wasn't fucking with anybody. Now, you'll hear from the police interview that they gave him commands multiple times. I only heard that shit once from that body cam footage. Put your hands up. Bam! And then silence. Judge it for yourself. Let me know how you feel. Maybe you feel the same way I did. The same way that the caller did to Drama Alert. In stating that it is not just Barris the bitch's fault that this man is dead. It's also the fault of Miracle, because he never should have gave that address in the first place. What do you think? Tell me after you watch this nasty. No, because it's not necessary. It's not news footage. Tell me after you watch this violent video footage. Have a look, and I'm out.
Gentlemen, we wanted to get more information to figure out how this argument took place on Call of Duty, which ended up in a swatting that caused an innocent man to lose his life. So we got a hold of Look Jeff, not to be confused with FaZe Jeff. This is a different Jeff, but he was actually in this game playing with both of these people that got in the argument. How long have you known Babe and Miracle?
I've known Miracle for 2 years and Babe just a couple months.
And so you play with these guys on Call of Duty? You're friends with them?
Yeah, that's my squad basically.
How did this argument even start? What happened in that Call of Duty game that caused this?
Well, what happened was they lost first map on Call of Duty or whatever, and then they went to second map, and one of the Miracle team killed Bape, and then it escalated from there, from people talking and talking. Then Bape team killed Miracle, and Miracle left and started posting stuff on Twitter about Bape's dots and whatnot.
So there was an accident team killing within the game where they shot their teammate, and then they shot each other. One person quits, and Miracle goes forward on Twitter and starts posting, Bape's personal address on Twitter.
Yes, he starts posting Bape's address on Twitter, and then he starts telling people, "Oh, you won't do this to him. I bet y'all won't do this." Because, in the moment, they were both heated. They were both arguing. But then after that, Miracle left and just was gone. He just went to Twitter.
So now, how I understand it is that Bape actually gave the address, all right, the fake address, to the swatter to go ahead and swat. How did Bape get that address? Did Miracle set him the fake address?
Yeah, Miracle sent him a fake address, which was he told us that it was his old home address, which I wouldn't know because, that's between them. So that's how it all started.
So I just can't believe that this happened. Do you think both of them should be held responsible, like the actual swatter?
It's Miracle's fault for giving an address because he should never give an address at all, just knowing that people around the world are crazy and they do things like this. But everyone's in the wrong, and it shouldn't have escalated this far over a team killing.
Right. Now, we know who Bapster is, all right? Or, excuse me, how do you say his name?
Vaporizer.
Vaporizer. We know who Vaporizer is. We know what he looks like. We know that he's 18 years of age, and we also heard that he's a son of a police officer. Is that true?
Yes.
Now, we don't know who Miracle is, all right? But we do know his first name, Shane. Do you know how old he is?
Miracle is at least in his early 20s.
In his early 20s. So both of these individuals that were involved in this are adults.
Yes.
Now, Miracle deleted his Twitter. Do you know what his current Twitter is?
He went back to Shane XO for life, but I think he's on another Twitter in X Pass Out.
Do either one of these people involved think that anything's going to happen to him? Have you spoken to him after all this news came out?
I haven't spoken to either one of them after the situation happened, that it went viral. Everybody just disappeared.
Hello? This is 911. What's going on? Hello?
Yeah.
This is 911. What's going on?
I recently got disconnected. I had told you guys everything that happened about the argument with my mom and dad.
Okay. What's your address? Hello?
Yeah, it's 1033 West McCormick Street.
Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
They were arguing and I shot him in the head and he's not breathing anymore.
Okay, so what's going on right now? Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, do you have any weapons on you?
Yeah, I do.
What kind of weapons do you have?
A handgun.
What kind of handgun is it?
I don't know, it's my dad's.
What color is it?
It's black.
Where exactly are you at in the house?
By the closet.
Okay, what closet?
My mom's.
Where's that at in the house?
In her room, which is where she's at, and my little brother.
You have a little brother?
Yeah. I was on the phone with you guys earlier, telling you guys about it. I got disconnected.
Okay. Well, we're going to try to get you some help. Where exactly in the house, like, is this a one-story or two-story house?
It's one story.
Is it towards the front of the house, the back of the house?
Well, like, it's like towards the back, I guess. I'm just pointing the gun at them, making sure they stay in the closet. My mom and my little brother.
Okay, is there any way you can put the gun up?
No. Are you guys sending someone over here? Because then I'm definitely not going to put it away.
Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and stay on the phone with you, okay?
That's fine. Until they get here, or?
As long as you need me to, okay?
Yeah, I'm thinking about, because I already poured gasoline all over the house. I might just set it on fire.
Okay, well, we don't need to do that, okay?
In a little bit, I might.
Why would you do that?
Do you have my address correct?
Can you verify it for me again?
It's 1033 West McCormick Street. My zip code is 67213.
Okay. So which way does your house face? Like, does your front door face north, south, east, west?
I don't know. It's just facing the street. My dad isn't breathing. It's kind of giving me anxiety, making me, like, paranoid. Hello?
I'm still here. I'm still here, okay?
Yeah, me too.
Okay, are you white, black, Asian, Hispanic? Are you there?
Yeah.
Are you white, black, Asian, Hispanic?
It was an accident, so.
Okay, that's fine. Are you there? Talk to me. Hello? Are you there? Hello?
Walk this way! Walk!
Ramsey is sorry he cannot be here this afternoon. He was away visiting family, and he is returning early to further manage last evening's officer-involved shooting. He asked me to express that his thoughts and prayers are with the family as well as with the officer. Last evening's officer-involved shooting is a tragic and senseless act. The irresponsible actions of a prankster put people and lives at risk. The incident is a nightmare for everyone involved, including the family and our police department. Due to the actions of a prankster, we have an innocent victim. If the false police call had not been made, we would not have been there. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family as well as with the officer. Okay, I'm going to kind of read a brief statement of how that unfolded last night once the officers arrived. Please keep in mind as I read through this, the dispatch traffic that you just heard. This is what the officers are confronted with and have to deal with, and this is the information in which they are operating. On Thursday, December 28th at approximately 6:18 p.m., officers responded to 1033 West McCormick regarding a shooting call with hostages. The officers arrived at approximately 6:20 and cordoned off the residence. Officers positioned themselves on the east and west side and across the street to the north. The officers were preparing to make contact with a suspect or suspects inside, and they were also preparing for a potential barricaded suspect with hostages. As the incident unfolded, a 28-year-old male opened the front screen door and stood in the doorway or just outside that doorway. Officers gave him several verbal commands to that male to put his hands up and walk towards them. The male complied for a very short time, but then moved his hands back down to his waist area. The officers continued to give him verbal commands to put his hands up, but he lowered his hands again. The male then turned towards the officers on the east side of the residence, lowered his hands to the waistband again, and then suddenly pulled them back up towards those officers to the east. The officer on the north side of the street, he feared that the male had just pulled a weapon from his waistband, retrieved a gun, and was in the process of pointing it at the officers to the east. Fearing for those officers' safety, the officer on the north side fired one round, striking the male. Officers then cleared the residence, believing there was a deceased person inside and potentially some hostages. After clearing the house, they located 4 individuals that reside there. Officers did not locate any deceased person, any injured person, or any hostages. During the investigation, we learned an unknown individual had placed this police false call. We believe this incident is a case of swatting, which is the act of deceiving emergency services into sending a police response to another person's address. The false calls include serious law enforcement emergencies such as bomb threats, murder, hostage taking, or other alleged serious incidents. We are continuing to follow up on the individual. Individuals believed that responsible for placing this call, and we'll work with our federal partners. No officers were injured during the incident. The male was taken to a local hospital and pronounced dead at 7:03 p.m. The Kansas Bureau of Investigation has assisted with this case. Per departmental policy, one officer has been placed on administrative leave, which is normal protocol for an officer who has been involved in a deadly shooting incident. The officer is a 7.5-year veteran of the police department. I have a brief timeline to provide to you. Some of you heard that information in the audio tape, but I'm going to provide a bit of a timeline for you. After that, I will show you the video. So at 6:18 p.m., the officer working at the city building, last night we believed it was a substation, but it did come into the city building, got a call from an unknown individual that stated that he had a disturbance, that his father had been hit over the head with a loaded gun, and then that security officer called 911 to report that information. They got cut off somehow. At 6:18, the calling party stated that he shot his dad in the head and that he was not breathing. At 6:19, the calling party stated he's holding his mom and his brother at gunpoint in the closet. At 6:22, the calling party stated he didn't mean to kill his dad. He was arguing with his mom and things got out of hand. At 6:23, the calling party stated he wants to kill himself and light the house on fire. At 6:41, the calling party stated he had a black handgun on him. At 6:42, the calling party stated that he was by his mom's closet And at 6:43, he advised he had his mom and his brother in his mom's closet, and the suspect also advised that the closet he was in his mom's bedroom towards the back of the house. He also stated that he was pointing the gun at his mom and his brother, and he was not going to put the gun away. At 6:44, the suspect advised he poured gasoline all over the house, and he was thinking about lighting it. At 6:43 is when the individual on the front porch was shot. So you can see how that evolved, and you can see what information the officers were having. The EMS was standing by. That's kind of a typical protocol of a hostage situation, so they were there on scene. But let's be pragmatic about it. They can't go in and treat somebody until the house is cleared and made safe. The individual was shot at 6:46, and he was to the hospital, pronounced dead by 7:03, which is about 17 minutes. So EMS was there quickly. I will tell you that this prank phone call, we don't see it as a joke. It's not a prank. It only heightened the awareness of the officers, and we think led to this deadly encounter. Having said that, I am here for a few questions.
So, can you confirm the man, Finch, the 28-year-old, he wasn't armed?
He was not armed. I think if you look closely at the video, you'll see the movement with his hand, which is what gave the officer such concern.
But there was no, he didn't have anything.
He did not have any weapon, no.
Do we know exactly where this 911 call originated from with the suspect that was playing in the audio?
I wish I could tell you that, but that's a part of the investigation. I will tell you that the detectives have done an outstanding job overnight following up leads and looking at different social media, and they have some promising information. That's all I can tell you at this time.
Now, can you go over again the conversation between the officers and the 28-year-old man? I mean, he raised his hands and dropped them more than once? Is that how?
Yeah, there were several commands given. What you can't hear, you hear the officer primarily that has the Axon body camera, but you have officers from the other side also giving commands, and they were all consistent about put your hands up, walk towards us. But he continued to drop them down by his waistband, which is a concern because that's where people typically would put a handgun or some type of weapon.
Was the body camera video that we saw, was that from the officer that fired the shot?
It was from an officer that was standing next to the officer that fired the shot.
So it came from that direction?
Yes. So you had the video, the Axon body camera here, and the officer that shot was right here. It was very close proximity.
And was that across the street?
That was on the north side of the street, yes.
Does WPD have experience with swatting calls? Is this the first one you've been on?
This is the first that I'm aware. If there are more, obviously they didn't raise this level of seriousness. But I know that this is a national trend. We're not the only community dealing with this type of incident.
What kind of penalty does someone get for this kind of thing? Because this is obviously something that's very common around here.
You know, I'd have to defer that to the district attorney's office.
Do officers or dispatchers or people that take calls receive any sort of training in this sort of situation that might be a fake call?
I can't speak for 911 because they're a different entity, but I do know that they're aware of this swatting type thing. We're aware of it, but sometimes you have to go, 911 is based on the premise of believing the caller. When you call for help, you're going to get help, and the officers have to respond accordingly.
Are we going to get access? Is there more than the 7 seconds of body camera video that you show us there?
There is. However, we thought there was a compelling reason to release this, and so under CORA, if we think it's in the public interest, we can release it. The other video will be withheld because there is an ongoing criminal investigation. Just like any other criminal investigation we have, we withhold that video. We made the exception for the 7 seconds because we thought the community deserved to see it, and we want to build and maintain trust with our community.
As the community asked questions, do we anticipate more after the investigation to be released at a later date? People ask that question.
Well, I can't speak to that because you'll have the criminal investigation, you'll have an internal review, and there could be potentially some sort of civil litigation too, and they would have to go through all those processes before that could even be considered.
And have any arrests been made, or are any of these online pranksters that you call them local, have any arrests been made?
No arrests have been made, but the detectives are doing a good job following up the leads.
our local detectives?
Yes, our local detectives. But they're working with other people, other law enforcement officers